So, in this session, I want to tell you about a very special online advising cohort we'll be doing for the month of May for 4 weeks. And the topic of this advising cohort will be becoming your child's trusted advisor. Becoming your child's trusted advisor. And so, the way I think about this topic is what is the highest goal of parenting? Uh, Said another way, what is the deepest bliss of parenting, right? So, is it just to help them survive to adulthood, um, which is fine, or one step further, is it to help them become productive members of society, to know the difference between right and wrong, to have a successful career, make money, have a happy family, right? That is absolutely wonderful and reasonable as well. But going even one step further, right, is it to actually assist them over the course of their lives to help them find their own bliss and meaning and purpose in life as well, right? Without pushing them and pressuring them to do it as like yet another achievement, right? But however they are naturally meant to find and discover their bliss, whether they find it at 13 years old or 23, 43, 53, whatever, whenever they are destined to find it, for you to be at their side as their trusted advisor, holding space for them and giving them this, just actually ultimate highest level of support that any parent can give their child. So that to me is really the highest goal of parenting, and also from my personal experience, the deepest bliss of parenting as well. So then the question is, well, I mean, how do you do that? How do you do that? Right? You don't know what their bliss is. It's for them to discover. Many of us as parents don't even know what our own bliss is. So it's like, if I don't even know my own bliss, how can I help my child with their bliss? Right? But what I've found over time is that the trick and the secret is not to know the answer of what their bliss or even what your own bliss is. The secret is actually to learn and develop the skills to become your child's trusted advisor, right? Regardless of the content of what happens in your life or their life. Right. So the point here is that not that you have all the answers, right? Nobody has all the answers, but rather recognizing that they are in this lifelong discovery process themselves, right? And obviously, this is their journey, not your journey, right? So the highest sort of bliss of parenting is to see if you can develop a kind of lifelong bond of trust and advisory relationship, connection and dynamics with your child. Because all the things, right? Because you have created a safe space for them, because um, they feel safe enough to come to you, to confer with you, right? And often neither of you will have the answers. This is especially when they're your adult children, right? But the point is that you will have each other. They will have you forever as their trusted advisor. One of the ways to think about this is that in the lifelong relationship between any parent and child, there are two major phases. The first phase is where the parent is the absolute authority, right? As parents, when our child is first born, we have full control over everything. We have full control of when they sleep, when they eat. The baby lives or dies by our incompetence or competence or incompetence as parents, right? But then at a certain point, typically around adolescence, the dynamic will shift. And you will naturally move as the parent, whether you are willing to or not, out of the pure authority phase where you don't have full control over them anymore, and into this next phase. And the ideal of this next phase is that you become their advisor, where you have less direct control over your child, right? Who they talk to, what they think, what influences they're resonating with. And most parents resist this, right? They move out of the authority mode and they feel their control over their child slipping away. And they don't know that there's another different, even richer, deeper mode that they can move into. They're just clinging to the authority mode. So they fight tooth and nail and still try to impose restrictions on their child, technologically, even financially. Even after the child's grown, they'll leave money to them in a trust or will with all these conditions, trying to control the life of even the adult child. But what most parents don't realize is that starting from adolescence, right, when you become less of an authority to your child, there is a kind of metaphorical job opening that is posted by your child for an advisor to come and hold space for them and serve them, right? And this ends up being filled by, an uncle or a favorite auntie or a grandparent. Uh, in sort of more unfortunate cases, by other peers that are sort of the wrong influence, or lead them down sort of a darker path, right? Um, but basically, at adolescence, a child, any human, starts to look for advisors, is one way to think about it. And the key here is that you, as the parent, you can apply to be that advisor, right? You can submit your resume, if you will, to be that advisor. But this is a position that is decided by the child, right? This is something, as a parent or anyone, you need to audition for, and you don't always get hired, right? And you may be like, well, I'm I've decreed myself to be the child's advisor. Of course, they come to me and everything. Well, the litmus test to know whether you've been hired or fired as the advisor is when your kid comes home from school and you say, "How was your day?" And they're like, "Fine." And you're like, "What did you talk about? Who are your friends?" And they're like, "Nothing, never mind." Right? And so the point is, when your child stops talking to you, that's the signal that you have been fired as their advisor, or not even hired in the first place, because they don't confide in you. Because whatever they say, they're worried that if I share anything that is really sort of deep and vulnerable, the authority wagging finger, right, the black and white, this is the rule, this is what you must do, will come through, and there's no advisory value in that, right? I mean, nobody goes to the jailhouse prison warden to look for advice on what they should do in life, right? You already know what the prison warden's going to say. I don't need to go when I already know what the answer is, and the answer is typically going to be shaming. Okay. Um, so in the 4-week cohort, right, we will go through everything in terms of the tactics, the approach, the attitude, the tools, the exercises, um, to help you sort of get in the frame of mind to prepare to sort of apply for the position, and then grow into and become your child's trusted advisor, right? And this is only if you want. This is only if you want, right? This is the skills to build a different kind of relationship with your child that will last all throughout the rest of their lives, right? And there is no, even from me, there is no finger wagging, say, well, you need to do this because this is the highest sort of form of parenting. It's not like that at all. It's whatever you want. If you raise your child, they survive through childhood into adulthood, they have a decent relationship with you, and they just do the same thing you did. They do money and prestige, and they have a decent family. They go through the ups and downs of life, and then they sort of contribute the next generation children to society. That's great, right? There's nothing more you need to do beyond that. Uh, and if you say, well, it's like kids naturally stop talking when they're teens. And no parent is the advisor to their child. I mean, I can tell you that's not actually true. But in the same breath, I will say you don't have to be the advisor to your child. This is not required. You're not a bad parent if you don't do this. But, from my perspective, if you're already putting in all the work to raise your kids already, my attitude is like, why not do this next thing? Because it's just so deep and rich and pleasurable. I mean, you're the parent, you're working hard. I mean, why shouldn't you get some enjoyment and bliss out of this experience too? Right. So, for me, in my own experience, as a child myself, I've got to tell you, as a child myself, where I have a mom who has this kind of lifelong strategic advisor relationship with me too. This year, my mom will be 80 and I will be 52. Even now, we have hours long conversations on the phone uh, about our muses, about the role of her muse in her life as a painter and an artist, and how it's guiding her, right? What the latest sort of things are happening artistically in her life. And we talk about how my muse is guiding my life as a practitioner of the healing arts. We talk about my kids, her grandkids, and strategize over how best to support them, right? And then as a parent, right, I like to think, a trusted advisor to both my daughters, who are 22 and 16 respectively, right? Going through all these major transitions in life, where my role is not to tell them what to do, but to hold space for them, where I support them, right? Not just for dating or career or marriage or whatever relationship issues, but powerfully in terms of following and finding their bliss in life, their higher meaning and purpose. And I have just got to tell you, when you have a parent who can be your advisor at this level, it is absolutely a priceless lifelong gift. This is something money cannot buy. Because the thing is, as a child, only your parents have a certain instinct and intuition about you, right? Because they've known you since you were born, right? And also, not just that, it's because you're basically, in some sense, a part of them, right? You are a child, you're an extension of them, and they are a part of you, right? But if you have this relationship with someone who knows you at this deep level and still knows how to hold space for you and support you to your highest meaning and purpose, that's just priceless, right? Now, I know many of you listening will be like, well, this sounds great. I mean, actually, if anything, I'm going into grief now already because I wish I had a parent like that, right? I didn't have a parent like that. I would have loved to have a parent like that. So I get that. I get that. But now you are the parent now. You are the parent now, and you have the power to give your child what you never had, to give this incredible, priceless gift to your own children, right? Which then they will take on and do. I mean, my mom did it for me, and now I'm doing it for my kids, right? And this is what we talk about in the cohort. Okay, so on the logistics, if you're interested in doing this cohort, the cost of the cohort is our usual online 1 month cohort cost. It's $1,100 for the 4 weeks of direct advising with me in a small intimate online group. So you will get all the attention from me and get all your questions answered for each one of your kids. And we will use your own life examples, challenges. Basically, we'll start with the training and exercises in the first 2 weeks. And then in weeks 3 and 4, we'll go even deeper using your own personal experiences, problems, questions, and scenarios. Now, during the 4 weeks, the way we do it logistically is that there are no issues with scheduling or time zones or any of this. I send you the trainings at the beginning of each week in a recorded format. You absorb them, you listen to them, and then you email me back with all of your sort of written homework and questions and answers that you have. And then I record my detailed answers to you on a weekly basis and then send them back out. This way, it is completely personalized, right? But there's no hassle of scheduling live sessions, time zones, and I'm also always available via email as well. We have been doing cohorts in this format over the past few months multiple times, and it has been working unbelievably well. What is it worth to have this kind of relationship with your child, or to have the skills and the craft and the know-how to build this kind of lifelong bond with your child of trust, of safe space, of advising, of a deep, mutual, consensual emotional intimacy, and even spiritual intimacy? Intimacy around the topic of helping them over the decades find and follow the golden thread of the work of art that is their life, to be their partner and support them through this as they venture out as a kind of extension of you and as an extension of your entire clan, right? As a continuation of you and your own quest of trying to find and follow your own bliss. To do this together with them, to walk the path with them in their lives, a couple of steps behind, always letting them lead, always there to support them. What is that worth? Right? What is it worth knowing that through all the ups and downs of life, you will always have this baseline core connection with your child? That you will always be able to talk about these deeper topics as the cornerstone of every other dimension of your relationship with them, as an in-law to their spouse, as a grandparent to their children, but all of this framed by the core relationship between you and your child around your role as their lifelong advisor, who wants only the best for them and encourages them always to find and follow their true bliss. What is it worth to know how to do that? Now, If you resonate with this, I encourage you to sign up as soon as you can. I'm being led to do this by my own muse, right? I don't know if we're ever going to do a cohort like this again. Um, and also, another aspect is there is an extra bonus as well. So, the extra bonus is that if you sign up in time, there will be a limited number of bonus slots where we will include all the content of the original protective parenting program. Okay. Because some of you are like, I did it and I'm still working on my protective parenting skills, or I didn't do it. Will I be ready? If you sign up in the next couple of weeks, we will get you ready, all right, for the cohort, for the advanced cohort starting in May. Okay. So you'll get all the content of the protective parenting program. And then in addition, we will schedule, right? We'll give you time to go through that. And then we will schedule an extra advanced round of Q&A before the cohort. So sometime in April, we'll schedule an extra round of online question and answer to answer all your questions with me directly on the protective parenting sort of content, so that we are all prepared to go into the advising parenting content in May. Okay, so if you sign up in advance, you'll get the protective parenting program included, right? So free of charge, and extra time to go through it, and extra Q&A with me to make sure sort of those skills are up to snuff. And then we will go forward, sort of fully equipped into the advisor parenting part of the journey. I'm just so excited to be doing this and offering this for you this summer. So email me if you have any questions. Please sign up as soon as you know. The spots obviously are limited because I need, I can't have the group be too big because we're going to be focusing in detail on each person. Um, but anyway, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the program. Thank you.